In Fairbanks, the frost bites, the snow's piled high, where the air's so cold it could make you cry. But bundle up tight, don't fear the chill, this winter wonderland's a frosty thrill. Welcome to Fairbanks in the very heart of rural Alaska. They've got drive-through ATMs here. I've seen 2 people in the 5 minutes I've been walking from my hotel. There's just nobody here. Welcome to the final day here in Fairbanks, Alaska, and welcome to the main street in Alaska. Bustling. It's Saturday morning. It's about midday on Saturday. I've seen 2 people in the 5 minutes I've been walking from my hotel. There's just nobody here. So I think I'm just going to have a walk around and see what I can find. So in this part of Fairbanks there are 2 main shopping streets, and you've just seen both of them in the past 30 seconds. There's not a lot happening. There are hardly any tourists either. In my hotel there are a couple of Chinese tourists, but not many other people. When I landed 2 days ago into Fairbanks Airport, most of the people on the flight were either local or flying up to Point Barrow, right in the far north of Alaska. A lot of the buildings here seem to have been abandoned. Being a Saturday, it's strange to find the couple of museums here closed as well. So I'm at a bit of a loose end of what to do. I guess you need to be on some kind of organised tour to come to places like this. If you haven't seen last week's video on the Dalton Highway, then make sure you check that out. I'll include a link to the Alaska videos above. Tomorrow I'm leaving Fairbanks to go down to Anchorage on the Alaska Railroad. It's a 12-hour train journey, which will be an interesting experience. If it's anything as quiet as Fairbanks, then I might have the whole train to myself. But I'll talk through that in the next video. So Fairbanks was settled in around 1906, and apparently what happened is a boat of people, gold prospectors, people coming up to find gold that had been discovered recently. They landed by accident because the ship was damaged. They apparently stopped, got out of the boat and said, fair enough, we've pulled up on the banks of a river, and that's where the name Fairbanks came from. Fair enough, riverbank. Okay, so that was a lie. Let's talk about why Fairbanks really got its name. Spoiler, it's not because it's fair, and it's not because it's full of banks. As you've seen, there's nothing here. So let's delve into the history of Fairbanks. Let's go back to the 1900s, shall we? Because who doesn't love a good gold rush story? In 1901, a guy named E.T. Barnett decided to crash his boat along the Chena River. He didn't plan his journey along the Chena River well. Talk about destiny. And then enter an Italian guy called Felix Pedro, a prospector who just wanted some gold to get some money in 1902, who struck lucky, got some gold, found some gold in the nearby river. Naturally, this led to a stampede of miners who came rushing in faster than you can say gold fever. Fairbanks was suddenly a boom town, and by boom town we actually mean a muddy collection of tents, saloons and way too many bearded men with funny hats. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, or not, depending on what you're interested in. The town was actually named after Charles W. Fairbanks, a US Senator from Indiana. Why? Well, Barnett thought that his pro-Alaska stance was pretty good, even though he probably never set foot in the state. And then he became vice president under Teddy Roosevelt. And then fast forward to today, and Fairbanks is now Alaska's second largest city. It's known as the Golden Heart of Alaska, a title that sounds like it was made up by a marketing team trying a little too hard to attract tourists. But hey, the nickname does reflect the gold rush history and the warm hearts of the people here. Apparently, I didn't see many of them. And that's at least if they're not freezing in sub-zero temperatures. So there you have it. Fairbanks, a city that started because of a stranded boat, got famous thanks to gold, and was named after a guy who probably never even visited. But whether you're here for the northern lights, the midnight sun, or just to say you've survived an Alaskan winter, you now know why it's called Fairbanks. Now back to the video. And you'll find that a lot of the names of places in Alaska are very common sense. So you've got Dead Horse, White Horse, Fast River, Slow River, Salmon. One place not far from here is named after the ptarmigan, a bird that is native to this part of the world, but the gold prospectors couldn't spell ptarmigan, so they called it chicken, and they called their village Chicken. And each year they have a music festival called Chicken Fest that attracts tens of people from across Alaska. This is eerily quiet. I mean, I know we're in the middle of winter in one of the coldest places in the world, but I was expecting to see some more locals at least. There's a cannabis shop. I think it's around minus 12 Celsius right now. Maybe that explains where everyone is. I don't quite know what I'm going to do. I think I had about 5 hours sleep last night, and my body clock's still on UK time, so 8 hours in front of Alaska time. I also need to be careful because there's a big US military base somewhere around here, and I don't want to accidentally wander into a military base. I think I'm going to turn back around and see what I can find back in the centre of town. This just seems like local shacks and a clinic. A random gift shop here. It snowed quite heavily last night, so the snow is quite deep. Some of the locals in the cars are they just stop and watch you walking. I mean, check out how deep the snow was last night. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but the smoke coming out of my mouth is creating a fog in my face. I don't want it to get too thick, otherwise I might fall over. I've almost slipped twice already. I don't want to do that again. I think we're going to turn left. Maybe not. I think that might be the military base across the road. It has some kind of turret. Let's head back to the church that we saw on the first video here in Fairbanks and see if we can go and have a look at what a church is like here. So a lot of the locals I've seen since being here in Fairbanks, they tend to be three types of people. One is native Alaskan tribes who are speaking one of, I think there's about 130 different languages. The second is ethnic Russians who, because Alaska was purchased by the US, they're technically ethnic Russians with links to Russia, but US citizens for over 150 years, and the third group tend to be a certain type of American from the lower states who have moved to Alaska because they want to avoid people. They come here for seclusion, away from the big cities. You definitely find that in here. I was talking to one of the truckers at the gas station yesterday when we stopped. I was a bit nervous about asking him because you get this image of truckers in America, especially on the Dalton Highway, as being a bit odd sometimes. A lot of the truckers choose that life so they don't have to see people, so they can live a solitary life away from civilization. But he said that that he finds Fairbanks too busy. The rush hour traffic. I mean, I guess this is not rush hour traffic, but this is a Saturday morning in the centre of the city. He said the rush hour traffic was just too bad and there were just too many people. There were 30,000 people in Fairbanks. He said he'd only been to Anchorage twice, and that has about 100,000 people, and that's way too busy. I think the clock just played the Alaskan state anthem at... No, it's not an hour, it's not the hour. I don't know why it did it today or at this time. Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, I do like this place. I've said that it's really quiet, and it is. And I don't quite know what things are. Nothing seems to make sense. But I like the quiet. I like the fact that you're not having to push through crowds. In a later video, I'll be in the heart of Seattle when I think I'll be wanting to come back to this part of Alaska to get away from people. My mouth is frozen and I'm finding it I'm struggling to speak, and it's so cold I'm struggling to think of what I actually want to say. My brain is frozen. I've been to cold places before, but this is something different. But here's the church. So this is the church that we saw in the first video, that I said might be a courthouse. This is a Catholic church, I think, with the Virgin Mary stood on top. Or is it Jesus? Let's go and have a check, see what it is. So this here is a memorial park, apparently. The Gordon Weir Memorial Park, or Ware Memorial Park. Okay then. There's a bridge with all of the US state flags on. How do we get in? Immaculate Conception Catholic Parish Church. Established in 1904. Oh. So this must have been one of the first buildings in Fairbanks then. So I decided to turn around. Two rugged Alaskan bearded men on the bridge behind me said, "Hey, what's this guy doing?" So I took that as my cue to turn around and walk back. When locals start to question what you're doing in a gruff voice, you listen to them and turn around. Yeah, this is Fairbanks. I don't know what else there is to do here now. I just checked online and everything seems to be shut. I don't want to go back to my hotel because it seems like a bit of a waste to come all this way to sit in a hotel room. But it's freezing. It's now minus 17 Celsius. And I don't really know what else I can do. A lot of the places in this part of Alaska are out of town. You can only really drive here if you're familiar and willing to drive on an ice road. And the river is almost fully frozen. There's a small patch in the middle that is kind of still flowing. I can hear the railroad in the background. Every couple of hours you hear the loud horn of the train, and we'll be travelling on that. We'll be travelling on the train tomorrow, all the way down to Anchorage. Yeah, I'm a bit stuck of what to do now. I mean, we could walk to a Walmart. That might be fun. I guess it's on the hour now. One o'clock, I guess. Something called Golden Heart Plaza this way. Let's go and see what that is. Scoop the poop. You get a free dog bag here. If only they had those in the UK. I guess the locals here are not used to tourists, because people are just watching me filming. So Fairbanks has the name Golden Heart of the Interior. And I guess that again, it's similar to the names of the towns here. Somebody found gold. It's in the heart of the interior of Alaska. And there you go, Golden Heart of Alaska. It is getting colder. I can't feel my face. And my hands, even in these gloves that are supposed to withstand minus 40 Celsius, my little fingers feel like they're falling off. I might have to turn around and go back to the hotel now. It's just too cold to be out here. I'm from the UK. We don't have temperatures this cold. We just get rain and maybe snow once a year if we're lucky. Do you think these berries are edible? It's starting to snow. There's a big storm coming. Hopefully I'll be out of Fairbanks tomorrow before it arrives, because my train leaves at 8:30 AM. But apparently it's going to be one of the biggest storms that's happened for quite a few years, and temperatures could get to around minus 25 to 30 Celsius. I do not want to be stuck here with the... Oh, look at this, the way the snow's formed. Yeah, I don't want to be stuck here in those temperatures. Not least because I'd have to get another hotel room, and the prices here are ridiculous. So I think I'm staying in a 3-star hotel, the Bridgewater Hotel, a Wyndham partnered hotel, and I think for 3 nights it cost me nearly £400. It's a basic, there's no breakfast, there's no restaurant, it's just a basic standard double bedroom with an ensuite. I guess they can charge what they want up here, because you haven't really got any options. There's maybe 4, possibly 5 hotels, 2 or 3 in the centre, then a couple of others outside of the centre. You don't find the big chain hotels in the centre of Fairbanks. There's a Marriott, I think, just outside of town, and a Radisson, I think, or maybe not. I don't know, it's too cold to even think. So I am going back to my hotel. I might come back out later. I'll try and Google what we can do. Oh, the War Memorial. Alaska, Siberia, World War II. This monument, something peace, something man, or something, so I can't read that. I'm guessing Alaska had a part to play in the Second World War. Because they were not far from Japan, and Japan occupied 2 of the Aleutian Islands off the coast of Alaska. And that's why there are big military bases in Alaska to deter well, it's now to deter the Russians, but it was to deter the Japanese from invading this part of Alaska. There are 2 military bases not far from Fairbanks. One of them has one of America's biggest runways, apparently. No overnight camping. Make sure you're not camping out in -20. I always feel like I'm wasting my time if I go back to the hotel when I'm travelling, but I really can't think of what to do, and it's just so cold.